Welcome back to Never Enough Novels. It's time for another round of new book releases that you need to know about. Today I'm sharing my picks for the best new books that are being released in October 2024. I want to point out that there are also a ton of new holiday romances and Christmas books coming out this month, but I decided to make a separate video featuring all of those. So you can head to my page and find my Christmas books series if you're interested in any of the holiday new releases this year. I'm sharing these new releases by genre, so I've got some romance, some fantasy, some thrillers and mysteries, as well as one just general fiction novel that I cannot wait to read. You can find the links to all of these books down below, so if you're interested in any of them, please purchase them from Amazon, and then you're helping this channel out as well. And as always, make sure you hit like on this video and subscribe to my channel so you can see more book recommendations in the future. Kicking things off with the romance books, the first new release in October is Nothing Like the Movies by Lynn Painter. This is the sequel to Lynn Painter's young adult hit Better Than the Movies, which I absolutely adored, so I'm so excited to get back to these characters. And we're picking up with Wes and Liz, who are now in college, but they are no longer together. A tragedy left Wes reeling over the summer, and in the midst of it, he broke Liz's heart. And now he's desperate to win her back. Things have settled down in his personal life, but they're also still just both figuring out how to adjust to college life. He knows Liz better than anyone else, so he is extremely confident that he can do whatever it takes to win her back, but it's turning out to be harder than he expected. I'm just so excited to get more of Wes and Liz and kind of interact with them again in this new stage in their lives. The next book I'm sharing is Best Hex Ever by Nadia El-Fassi. If you love books about baking or books about witches, this is going to be the recommendation for you. Dina is a witch who is skilled in the kitchen, and she uses her abilities to infuse emotions and feelings into her treats. And as part of that, she is running a successful cafe in London. But due to a hex that was placed on her, she's able to be successful in business, but never in relationships. This was never really a problem until the weekend of her best friend's wedding. She's the maid of honor and she meets the best man and they hit it off. And over the course of the weekend, this also took place around Halloween, so there's a lot of kind of fall and Halloween type activities, making this book perfect for this time of year. But Dina realizes that she's actually starting to fall for this guy. However, she'll need to figure out how to break the hex so that the man that she's with isn't cursed. This would be such a fun book this time of year, and I love the kind of unique magical abilities that are scattered throughout. Basically, Dina relies on her own past memories and emotions to infuse things like courage to ask for a raise, or confidence in asking someone out, or different emotions that she's experienced into her food so that people who consume it can get those same kind of positive vibes. Up next is Catch and Keep by Erin Hahn. My favorite trope, friends to lovers, is featured in this new release, so this is one that I'm particularly excited about. Marin is ready for a change after turning down her boyfriend's proposal because things just weren't right between them, and leaving behind a job that she's had for a while. She escapes to Wisconsin to take over this kind of old, decrepit bait shop that's been in her family for years. And while she's there, she connects with one of the local single dads, Josiah, and the two fall right into a really easy friendship. And then taking things to the next level is almost too easy, and they're both kind of wondering, is love really supposed to be this simple? But maybe this is just what they both need. This definitely has, outdoorsy vibes. I think there's going to be a lot of fishing, obviously with her running the bait shop, doing sort of outdoorsy things in Wisconsin. So in the fall time frame, I feel like this book is perfect for this time of year. My next romance is called Book of the Month by Jennifer Probst. If you're like me and love to read books or about the publishing world, this is going to be a great new release for you. Our main character is a writer who wrote an enormously successful bestseller based on a previous heartbreak. Now she's stuck attempting to recreate that success with her next book, but she has no similar experiences to draw on. Enter Brick Babel, the town scoundrel, who might just be the perfect person to break her heart once again. Aspen decides to try to win him over so that he can eventually do what he does and leave her behind, but Brick isn't exactly falling for her schemes, and she can't manage to get him interested. So she comes up with a deal that will benefit him as well. But the lines between their contractual obligations and true romance start to blur, leaving Aspen unsure whether she's willing to give up this relationship just for the success of her next book, or whether it's worth actually pursuing things with Brick and see if this is a life-changing romance. I'm always interested in books, set in that publishing world or about authors or writers, so I think this will be another great romance. And my last romance that I'm sharing that's coming out in October is The Striker by Anna Huang. I have been desperately waiting to get my hands on this novel since it was first announced. I'm a huge Anna fan. I've loved all of her kind of morally gray men and a little bit of the darker side to her romances. So I'm excited to see how she transitions into more of a sports romance. You get to dive into the world of the rich and famous and athletes with Asher and Scarlett. Asher is one of the best footballers in the entire world, but his temper and his rivalry with a fellow teammate have led them into a summer-long training session, and it is led by none other than his rival's sister. Scarlett is 1,000% off limits, but Asher has fallen hard for her, and he's willing to do whatever it takes to win her over. As I mentioned, Anna is kind of known for having these morally gray love interests, and I think Asher sounds like another fantastic addition to her lineup. Now let's move on to the thrillers or mysteries that are coming out in October. First up is one that I've read already, and it is The Last One at the Wedding by Jason Rekulak. I begged the publisher for this book because I just absolutely adored his most recent novel, Hidden Pictures, so I was really excited to see what he came up with next. This one felt completely different, which I think just showcases his ability to write about a wide variety of topics. It's still kind of a psychological thriller, but it's much more of a slow burn over the course of a wedding weekend. Frank's daughter, Maggie, is getting married to the CEO of a company, and Maggie and Frank had this falling out years ago, so he's honestly just so excited when he finally hears from her about the wedding and gets an invite to come spend the weekend with her and her fiance and their new family. But over the course of the wedding weekend, Franks discovers that a young woman went missing at this lake resort that they're all spending time at. And she had a connection to Maggie's fiance. But the family swears up and down that he was falsely accused, that they've had absolutely nothing to do with her disappearance. But Frank's definitely still getting weird vibes and thinks something is really off with this family. He tries to convince Maggie that she is making a huge mistake by marrying her fiance and marrying into this family, but she just reassures him that everything is fine, she knows what's going on, and he shouldn't worry about anything. This was definitely a slow burn as readers are discovering more and more information right along with Frank, and you never quite knew who to trust or who was the cause of all of these strange things that were happening, whether it was the fiance or the fiance's family, or whether it was something with the corporation that they're all a part of. And there were a few red herrings about what was actually going on, and it all led up to this riveting final few chapters. It's another excellent thriller from Jason. The second thriller mystery I want to share with you is Society of Lies by Lauren Ling Brown. This came on my radar because it was actually selected as Reese's book club pick for October. Maya is heading back to her alma mater for both her 10-year reunion and her sister's graduation. But when she gets there, she receives horrible news that her sister has died. So Princeton investigated and, basically told Maya that it was just an accident. But Maya knows that her sister is involved, or was involved, with a secret society at the school, and she thinks they might have something to do with her death. Now Maya starts to uncover the truth about what happened and do her own investigation. And she is starting to face her own experiences at the school and with the society. And the past is starting to come back to haunt her. This is another one that I feel like is perfect for this time of year since it's got that, university setting, secret society. It all fits in with these October spooky vibes. The one fantasy that I want to share with you is This Will Be Fun by E.B. Asher. So I discovered when I was researching this that E.B. Asher is actually a pen name for 3 different authors. It's Bridget Morrissey, Emily Wibberley, and Austin Sigmund Broca. So these 3 are also romance writers of their own individual books. Austin and Emily have teamed up together for a lot of books, and Bridget has a few romance books to her names as well. So the 3 collaborated together on this cozy fantasy. It's about 3 former friends who are getting back together for one last quest. And we discover that 10 years ago, this big incident happened which split them apart. And over the past decade, they've each been kind of doing their own thing and dealing with their own demons. So now they're given an opportunity to go on another quest, and they're trying to rekindle kind of the magic that they had together before. I have read this one as well. Ultimately, it fell just a little bit flat for me. So I've read a couple other cozy fantasies like Legends and Lattes, and I just thought they were much better thought out and well written. This one, it just felt a little disjointed, and the quest and like the whole plot almost seemed kind of like a side thing. Like it wasn't really the focus of the book. They also tried to force a lot of like modern references into just a fantasy world. So it was like they were just trying to be like too clever. And I just didn't get the same kind of like heartwarming, wonderful vibes that I had from other cozy fantasies that I've read. It just left me wanting a little bit. So not my favorite, but if you like cozy fantasies, or if you've read those authors before and enjoyed their other books, I think you'll still like this one. And then the general fiction new release that I'm sharing is What Does It Feel Like by Sophie Kinsella. So you may recognize Sophie Kinsella as normally a contemporary romance author, and I adore her. I love all of her books. I've read, I think, every single one, but she is taking a little bit of a different tact with this one. This is her most meaningful and personal story to date, as she is drawing on her own experiences with a medical scare to write this novel. The premise is a novelist who wakes up in the hospital one day and discovers that she's been put under surgery to remove a malignant brain tumor. So the life that she previously knew is essentially gone, and now she is forced to relearn how to walk, talk, do everything that she used to do. But along the way, she discovers all of the simple joys that we sometimes take for granted. I'm a devoted Sophie Kinsella fan, and I'm really excited to see her take on this more meaningful topic. She always manages to infuse her romances with lots of joy and hope and like uplifting feelings. So I think this is going to be a knockout book that is just going to really show you and remind readers like the importance of the little things in life and how not to take what you have for granted. I hope you found a new book that's coming out in October that you're interested in reading, and make sure you hit subscribe so that you can see more of these new release videos in the future. If you want to head back and check out what I recommended in September, you can go to that video right here.